again for the Martial View then, and this time we are joined by old firm favorite Jon Xue Zhang, and of course the amazing Master Wong, who I'm sure many of you guys know. He is all over social media, all over YouTube. He's got some amazing stuff, and you two have worked together on some like collaborative videos, haven't you, as well? How did that all come about? So how did you two meet and kind of hook up?
Let Dr. John talk about it.
So, when I was younger, we had all the Master Wong DVDs, the Wing Chun DVDs and Tai Chi DVDs. So when I saw Master Wong at CENI 2007 at the Excel in London, I was like, okay, well, I've got to go get a photo with this guy. And you know what? 14 years ago, the guy looks the same, as he does now.
Man does not age.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and it was, it was really nice. We took a photograph and everything. I thought, oh, what a great guy. And, but, I met a lot of people at CENI 2007, but no, Master Wong always, he was the nicest out of all of them, if I'm honest. And, obviously a lot of people wanted to take a photo with him, but, it's like, he made time for everyone. So that always stuck with me. And then we met again in 2017. We reconnected on a film project called The Real Target with a few mutual friends. And after that, in 2018, we met up in January and again in June, and we shot some videos. And so it's been a good run.
Amazing stuff then. Yeah, cool. So Master Wong, how about you then? How did you first get involved in the Wing Chun and the Tai Chi? Like, was it through family? Was it through culture? Was it something that you always wanted to do?
Okay, so some of you haven't followed my stuff quite a bit. So you will see I've been in YouTube a lot, but I've been bullied when I'm very young in Vietnam, very bad bully. So when I left Vietnam, then I come to UK, I go through the same routine again. People, you get bullied, also the problem, have been educated, got kicked out of school when I'm 14, also the problem. So through that time I in school, from 12, 13, 14, that's when I started learning some form of self-defense to protect myself. Because that time it's very, very racist. I just don't like foreigner over here. And especially if I don't speak any English, that's even worse. So every day in the class get beat up, also the stuff. To when I fight back, learn the stuff, fight back, then I got kicked out from school because I started hurting them, really bad. So I got expelled from school when I'm 14. So when I'm 14, I expelled from school. That's when my martial art journey start into it. So I get involved in gangs, work in a Chinese restaurant, takeaway business, and involved in triad and also the stuff like that. And then I meet the master teaching me about mindset, about get me to be able more balanced and stuff like that. And that's where I start my Tai Chi journey. And then afterward, I come back to where I live in Ipswich. And then I start to open a martial school here. And that's when I start teaching. First, when I start teaching them, I take them into doing san shao, like Chinese kickboxing that time, kickboxing, Chinese kickboxing. And then afterward, we met, that's where Dr. John find me and pin stuff on the net and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Obviously, the internet's such an amazing place at the moment because there's so much wealth of information out there. And both of you have got quite a large following and presence on it. Was that something that you always thought like, I need to get into this and appeal to like a global market and, reach as many people as I can teach my martial arts?
Dr. John?
Well, so for me, I always wanted to start out small to begin with.
Yeah.
I always felt that I needed to, I think when I first started teaching, there was less of an online, YouTube was not as much of a thing at the time. And I think when I first started teaching, it was like, okay, I'll start small, have a few students here and there, and then we'll grow from that. And then since then, I've got a few people who teach under me in different cities. So like in Brighton, for instance. So that's really good, and I think nowadays, I feel that you can't not be online. Nowadays, because there is such a huge reach that YouTube has access to. And you can see, Master Wong's channels, he has 2.8 million. Is that correct? It's
7.5.
Oh, it's insane. It's
crazy number. Yeah.
So, that reach is incredible. So I think it's important to, if you have something that, my instructors always taught me is if you have the capability, then you have the responsibility. So in some way or form, it's important for you to be able to pass on these things that you've learned. It's your responsibility to, and not only to pass it on, but to pass it on well as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you could be the best fighter, but not a great teacher, you know.
That's it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think when I was younger, maybe about 10 years ago, I think I wanted to make the transition between being a very good fighter to being a better teacher. Just because that way I'm helping people as opposed to hurting them, you know, and that's always where my motivation's always been. So slowly I'm getting with the YouTube community.
For sure.
Right. My part is simple. When I start teaching martial art at the school here, and somebody walked into my door, you know, my school, and he said to me, man, what you teach here is not very much people, you know, we got about 200 members and about 20 people per class, you know,
Yeah.
and he come in and he said to me, you know, we want to reaching a lot of people. What you need to do is put your skill in either book form or video, that time at VHS and then DVD, you know, and then go from there. So that's when I start. That's when I start to doing the stuff on VHS video to share with more people. And then I start with DVD. And then I don't know how to write. I can't write. I left school very early, kick out from school early to can't read and write. So that's no good for me. So then afterwards, then I go to doing the stuff on to call the Facebook, not Facebook, used this before they called MySpace, you know,
yeah.
MySpace. And then I transfer from MySpace into YouTube.
Wow,
and then
blast from the past there.
Yeah, it's not really about like try to get more audience. It's just do something you love to do. Then you just put it out there. So in that time, when people watching my old stuff, it's very different to what I'm doing now. And when my master always told me, you know, in life, it's very simple. When you possess the skills that you learn, it got two things to do. One, to teaching people the right thing. That's why online I try to be funny, try to be interesting, not too serious about the movement people do, but the seriousness side behind it. So I get them more entertaining and fun. Because what he said to me is life is simple. Why are we living in this planet? Okay? What we do, we won't feel it to when we pass away. When we pass away, whatever you do, okay, you will be responsible for. So if you're teaching people, bash people up, and every time they hurt people, that is on your D. Basically, when you're dead, you'll receive the D, and that is your D, you know, that's what you teach. So I try to be more like responsible, like Dr. Jon mentioned, you know, responsible, teach them, talk to them about it, have a laugh, have a fun, and then start to learn and educate them that way to make them learn in such a way. So we try to passing the skill to people that can learn while we're not here no more, you know, so we can teach them so they become more fun. But nowadays I write a lot of stuff as well, do a lot of writing, do a lot of bits and pieces to educate people through the mindset, the principle, the really the true art sense about martial art, you know, the foundation of it. What is it they need to be understand about to become the better version of themselves? Not go out there try to hurt somebody and just prove that you are good, because you can do the movement, but the other person cannot do it. You know, you can't train them to be like you. They have to be them. And whatever you teach them, if they can be better version of themselves today, then tomorrow another think better and better every day. That is something you left behind. So that's my journey. That's why we connect with Dr. Jon a lot, and we get into talk about this kind of stuff a lot, because our mind is similar. Instead of like my stuff is better than your stuff, it doesn't matter. Your stuff is better than mine. It doesn't matter what you do. Do something, make a difference. Okay, do something, make some changes, helping people to learn, helping people to understand. And that's all there is to it. If you're good, you're good. Don't matter. I got no problem there. I feel good for it. Because really and truthfully, we live in this world here, under this planet. We are truthfully, really brother and sister of this world. Really, that is. It's only two, is that all there is. And because of that, it's no need for hate each other, because that's what this world we live in a moment. It could conquer and divide. The bad people always want to conquer and divide you out. And that's what it is. You should be together. And if you got something to work together, you know, make a difference. And that's all there is to it. And sharing the skill to another human being. Because that's what you're here for. And if God really, the truly you believe in somebody that gives you the skill, it not belong to me. Yeah, I don't know when I'm born. I came in this world empty, and I will live empty. You know, I possess this skill because somebody gave it to me. And if somebody give it to me, then I hand it out to other people to have it. You understand what I mean? Provider want to have it. So that's what we connect with the Dr. John a lot, and I do project and talk about it a lot through that kind of stuff like this.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. Basically, so because we are all very different, how people learn will be different as well. Now, for instance, I'm 5'9" on a good day, and I'm about 106, 107 kilos. So I'm quite a big dude, quite a heavy dude. So how I do things my way will not translate to how someone else would be able to do it. So when we teach, we have to teach towards that person's specifications and their own requirements. So, for instance, how I teach, and this is good because Master Wong and I have talked about this at length, and it's wonderful that we are of a similar kind of mindset, and we have very similar philosophies. And especially as I spent a couple of days with him a couple of weeks ago, we got to talk a bit more, which was great. It's like when I teach, for instance, it's like I have, it's like an art class. I have a painting, I do my painting, and I'll teach my students what I did, how I did it, what the inspiration was behind what I did, and all those different techniques. Then I'll get those students to do their own painting. And what I would want to see is not a carbon copy of what I've done, but they will take my teachings and be the best that they can be. So it's not a photocopy of the original, because a photocopy of the original loses its originality. So I always want my students to be creative in their own way, to find their own way around the same problems, and and that way one size does not fit all, because everyone is different. And there's three of us in this chat right now, and we all think differently. We all have different ways of doing things, different ways of applying things. So it's learning, as an instructor, learning how best to communicate that to the students and how they will be most receptive to that. So I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, 100%. I think loads of people go around collecting techniques, but they don't collect principles or concepts. And that's perhaps the most important part. If you know that, you can then fit it into something else. If you just collect the techniques, it's never going to be your own, is it? It's always going to be someone else's copy and paste job. Learn the principles behind it. Then you start adapting.
That's why something is important when I talk about the way you do anything is the way you do everything. You live with the principle of what you do every day, and that's how you bring it into life. And when I'm teaching people, people ask me, come along, or ask me, like I asked my master when he's teaching, want to learn from me, he said, if you want to learn anything, it's simple. The four basic principles: the purity of your intents, the focus of your will, the level of your awareness, and the quality of your character. If you have this principle in mind, it's not just about martial art, but everything you do in life will go together. And I take this throughout all my teaching, all my written stuff. They're all interlinked. So then you start to understand why you do each thing and why they fit in. So the quality of your character is so important. If you're treating people right, they treat you right. If you don't shit on someone, they don't shit on you. It's the basic principle. Awareness is very important. How you're aware in a combat, you're aware on people while we're here. We're not in combat, but we're using principle of combat applied to what we're doing now. They're listening, what they're saying, and then understanding it, and then take turn to talk your part. And so this awareness, and the intent, what is your intent is intent of learning this technique to hurt someone, or intent to learn this technique to make a difference to someone, because somebody's life is very different to your life. I come from in a very different background. The way I'm thinking is very different the way you're thinking, because you haven't been through the journeys that I do. You see, so I can give you the principle of mine, how I go through my journey and how I solve my problem and how you solve your problem. You need to understanding this basic principle, like the tool, basic tool. When you have this tool, is how you use it, and how you use that tool is you. And you master that tool, then now it's your tool. It's not belong to me no more. It's your tool now. And then you can apply to whatever you want to do in life. And I think that's different that people need to learn, especially in the martial art is a very long history, and it's got a lot of philosophy embedded in there, and a lot of learning about life embedded in. And if you understand a couple bit about it, make your life a lot more easier when you conduct your day-to-day life, your job, your relationship, your work, all sort of thing. Yeah, you never get in trouble. Why? Because you don't open your mouth in the wrong way. Yeah, you don't act in a stupid way. You're aware what people are doing over there. You don't go over there and test out your technique. Let's see this work or not. You're understanding this basic principle, okay? Because that's important. That's what saves you. You know, it's not movement, it don't save you, okay? Because in any form of combat, first certain thing happen, your mind not gonna think straight what you're gonna do, you see? And then you're gonna be do all the stupid shit that you never been trained, because your body cannot remember, you cannot do it. It's just not possible because combat happens so quick and you have to see it before it's happening. So you got to be able to identify it. So don't get in that situation. So this is why I think it's a lot of time people need to understand this basic rule. Then for you to choosing a right person to teach you is another very important, okay? You know, very important, because if the person teaching you in the wrong way, they're basically like they educate you, they start to wind your brain, like teaching you wind your brain in a certain thinking. And that certain thinking is not what meant to be. When something happened, you're using that thinking that they've been put into your head and you react on it. And that's where trouble starts. You see, because you don't know any different, because you've been brainwashed all the time. So the mind is all about listening, so aware of what people say. You know, it's so many things. And then is it make sense to you? And it go back to the quality of your character. Is that you? Is that you can hurt somebody like that, or that's not you? If it's not you, don't imprint that label or identity on you. Okay, if you imprint that on you, you'll carry this identity, and that's what you think you are, but you're not. And so many people out there got problem or get themselves in a big problem because they put that identity on them. That's not that person. You see what I mean? So this is a very, very important issue that nowadays, more than ever, we need to learn to understand this more than ever.
I completely agree. And following on from what Master Wong just said, it's like when you start doing random stuff in a street fight, okay, how that translates to a day-to-day interaction with someone is, you know, if I'm arguing with you, for instance, and I'm, you know, everything's happening, you're saying things I don't like, I'm saying things, I might end up saying something that I will come to regret. And then afterwards, it's like, I'll walk away. Once I've calmed down, I think, really wish I didn't say all that, you know, and if I was calm, I wouldn't have said any of that. And the same thing in a real life situation is like, if I was the one who threw the first punch, unprompted or whatever, you know, and then I walk away and I think, oh, I really wish I didn't do that, you know. So it's, I think, like you said, Dan, you know, you know, thousands of techniques, right? So it's like, but it's like, you know, knowing the techniques is one thing, and being good at them is another. But the most important thing is knowing, being the best judge of when to deploy those techniques. That's so important. You know, it's like, you know, you examine the situation and see the conditions of this particular situation and think, okay, right, do I deploy this or not? And you have to make that decision in a split second. And sometimes, and certainly I've been there myself, I'm sure Master Wong has as well, it's like when we are in a situation where we're in a specific position with someone, we're holding them here, I know full well that as soon as I do this, one, it will save my life, but two, it will change me irrevocably. Am I prepared to do this? You know, it's like, I mean, the best thing is to not get yourself in that situation in the first place. But I think it's so important that we remain composed under pressure, you know, because when we're not composed under pressure, we do some wacky things. We might say some crazy things. It's like you got, I don't know, 4 or 5 guys coming towards you, and okay, you want to de-escalate the situation. And you say something silly like, find someone less likely to put you in hospital. It's something like that is going to aggravate the situation. Do you see what I mean? And of course, you know, that's not where you want to be. You want to be in a position where you're calm enough. Then when you're calm, you will be able to de-escalate most situations, because if you can handle yourself, you will always have an impact over the outcome of the situation.
Yeah, it's ego. People get into fights because of ego. If you haven't got an ego, then the majority of things are just going to calm down. You can just walk away and be done. And that's, you know, that's the big belief of mine. You know, as you said, you know, things escalate because of your ego and because you want to go, oh, okay. And you want to stand taller. You don't want to back down. But sometimes just walking away is the easiest way. I don't think that's taught enough in self-defense. A lot of practicality or the physical side of self-defense, but a lot of the de-escalation techniques, a lot of the soft skills are perhaps overlooked too much, maybe.
I completely agree, because you've got, we're always taught that fighting is the last resort. So I think having something like being able to de-escalate a situation verbally and being able to keep yourself calm, I think those are things that we should prioritize also. In addition to I mean, I think if we can't stay calm, whatever physical techniques we know will be redundant. You know, it's like suddenly I'm like, oh, okay, the guy's grabbed me. And in training, I've practiced this 1,000 times. I know how to do this. Suddenly, there's real danger. Now I can't. You know what I mean? It's like, ideally, that's what we want to avoid. And you know, you deploy those physical techniques only when all else fails, and that's so important. And I think what Master Wong said, which I really like to echo, is finding a good instructor who is able to nurture you and teach you the right things. And if you're a beginner in the martial arts, it's sometimes it's very difficult to recognize what is a good instructor, you know. And so, like for instance, my father was my first teacher, and he traveled around a 50-mile radius to find a martial arts school for me to train at as well. And you know, and he found a club that was maybe 10, 20 miles from where we lived, and it was and that guy has been my instructor for 26 years. You know what I mean? So it's like and I think it's important that when you have you are looking for a martial arts instructor, and this is for anyone out there, you know, it's like that person needs to embody skills and attributes that you would like to have, and not just about the fighting. Like Master Wong was saying, the quality of your character, your mindset, because as a martial arts instructor, as you know, you are a surrogate brother, father figure, personal trainer, dietitian, psychologist, coach, and you know, counselor, all rolled into one. And then you've got the physical training, you know, then you've got the physical training. So you've got all of those things because people look up to you. And it's so important to, if you're going to be a role model, to pass on such important and even lethal skills, you need to have those attributes to be able to control them and teach people how to control them. You know, so I think that's so important.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Master Wong, what do you think? What do you think are some of the characteristics of like a good instructor?
I think good instructor is it really comes down to the person that relatable to you or not, you know, because if you see the person and you don't like them, it's no point. You're not going to learn anything from them. And the second thing is you have to get on with each other. Because martial art, if you look back in olden time, where we come from, based in Chinese stuff, that's a lot to do with the person. The master have to like you first. If they don't like you, nothing will be nothing will be nothing will be able to learn. They're not going to be able to teach you anything, even if they've got any very good skill, because they don't like you. So the most important thing, it have to get on with each other first. You have to get on with them, they get on with you. You get to like them first. It's nowadays in Western, it's very different. I pay you, you teach me. It don't work like that. Yeah, because it don't work like that. You pay them, but you got to understand it. Is they like to teach you this or not? You know, sometimes like anything is a responsibility from the person to give you this. And if they give you wrong, you give this person the big problem. They'll go to jail. Two of my the students to life in prison at the moment. I think they got another 8 more years to do for murder. Because when that time when I'm start teaching them, when I come out from the gangs and all this thing, I don't know any better. You know, I don't know any better. All I know is that, okay, this is the hammer. A problem, that's it. Nothing can change it. Simple. Because only this can sort out the problem. Okay, nothing else. So that's all I know. So I'm getting to learn better. When I say I know better, I need to be better. I need to change when I know better. At that time, I don't know. When I came from Vietnam, that time, went over here, all I have is people punish me. All I know, every day people beat me up. That's all I know. I'm going to get back on you. And that's what I have. I have this anger on me every minute of the day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deliver to somebody. Somebody going to say something wrong, this shove in your face. And it doesn't matter where it lands. It's not going to look good. And that's it. But when you start to understanding, I change. I start to know, understand more, and getting better and better. So now it's a bit, for me, it's responsibility is very big, because I need to explain to people what's going on. And it's your choice now. You have this, your choice now, what you want to do with your life. I'm not your father, okay? I'm not any of you that is responsible for you. You take the responsibility now, but I at least explain to you, at least I share this with you, you know? So good instructor is all about able to get on with each other. You have to get on.
Yeah,
If you're not get on, you're not going to get anywhere with them. And then it's not about find somebody that they're a good fighter, because a good fighter doesn't mean they can translate anything to you.
Yeah.
It's got to find somebody who can teach you what you need to learn, okay? To learn. Because like I say to people when they come along, I always ask them, what do you do for living? You know what you do for living. Then I'm passing the skills that are suitable for you, what you do for living. If you say to me, you are special force, if I teach you punching people all the time, that's not going to be good, because in a special unit, what you do? The main important is gun. Okay, long weapon, short weapon, knife. The last result is hand. You never get there. Soon you get to hand, you're probably dead, because without the ammo, you're dead already. So you're not learning that. Okay, you're learning about the movement, but using weapon deploy with it and transfer your body, okay, into the weapon, so you can use it at once, so that become more together as a body weapon, you know. But if the surgery come to me, okay, I'm not going to teach them become anger, bash people up, because when you do the surgery, if it goes out in the head and it cuts something wrong, okay, then you can mess somebody up. So you have to learn peace, learning about meditation, learn all these things to helping the person to day work, you know. So I'm teaching in a way that matching you, and then your personality will using that technique to helping you when you start to go to work or go to training, because you like it more, because it fit you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think as an instructor as well, it's like it's knowing your own boundaries as well. You know, it's like I see a lot of instructors here. It's like I've seen a few in the past where they'll teach things that they pretend to know, but they're not an expert in that field. You know, so you need to be honest with yourself as an instructor. Am I able to teach this? Like it's like or it's like, would this student genuinely benefit from it? And now I get students who go to another country, for instance, and they say, well, you know, I don't really want to train here because the instructor's not as good as you. I'm like, well, okay, does the instructor have skills that you can learn from, for one? Okay, if that's a yes, go learn from them. Okay, I said, you can't just depend on me. This is dependent on you. But it's like, for instance, I will have, I've had students before come to me, well, people come to me because they wanted to, oh, you know, I want to do this, I want to get into bare knuckle fighting, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, okay, look, okay, there are other clubs that would probably be better suited to what you do. That's not to say that I couldn't teach them. It's just that I don't think they would be a suit for my student body. It's like some of them will want to do private training with me instead, but then it's like, you know, I don't want to encourage more fighting. I don't want to encourage more, breed more of that anger, that you know. And I think obviously anger and aggression are different things, because you do need to exhibit a level of aggression, but you know, I don't want to be adding fuel to the fire. So it's like I'm more than happy to refer people to other clubs that will better suit them. I mean, it's nice where I do have I've had conversations with people, because I only take on students with my club, for instance. I only take on students that I know. I need to get to know you first, interview you first, like informally. You know, and it's like, for instance, a lot of them are just normal people who want to learn some self-defense skills, who never want to take it beyond a certain level. So, you know, so you only have to teach at a certain level. Now, if they want to take it to, I want to get into competitive MMA and everything, okay, cool. If you want to do competitions, okay, there are the clubs that are good for you, but if you want to train with me, I need to know what your mindset is first. And it's like, and if you can, you know, if people want to train with me badly, you know, and I don't feel that they're a match for me to begin with, then I'll say, okay, if you want to train with me, here are a few things that I will need you to do first. And that shows me that you're willing to be versatile and flexible in your mind. And I've had a few people since, you know, who did start meditating, and they were very calm, you know, they calmed down a lot more. And I thought, okay, now we can talk, you know, it's, and I think it's so important, because I never want to breed more violence. You know, I never ever want to do that. And I think Master Wong for sure is the same. It's like, and I think when you're younger, less experienced, I'll teach everything. You know, it's like, this is, you know what I mean? This is how you break an arm in, you know, in 6 different places. This is how you do it. This is that, and this is what it sounds like. You know, no. So it's I'm very generous with what I teach, but those who I teach are the ones who I've spent the time to get to know. So
Trust. Yeah.
absolutely, you need it, and that goes both ways. They trust that I won't hurt them and I won't misguide them, and I trust that they won't go out and do something crazy. Because with um, in Chinese martial arts, for instance, you have and I think in a lot of other styles as well, from different countries, you have a code of conduct,
Yeah.
and for the most part, they are quite similar. You have respect, humility, punctuality. You show up on time, and you make sure if you're going to be, you have good personal hygiene. So if you are going to be grappling and rolling around, you
Yeah.
don't smell bad. So it's respect to yourself, respect to others, to the instructor, and it's like, and that's so important. Of course, in a real life situation, respect is often the first thing that goes out, because I think, like you said earlier, most fights happen because of ego. Now, if you don't have that kind of ego, chances are you won't fight. You'll avoid most fights,
Yeah.
most physical situations. So it's being in that position where you have that choice where you can avoid it. It's like when I was younger, man, I used to fight all the time. I used to love it. I used to thrive upon it. And the thing is, it's like looking back now. I mean, at the time I said, that all happened. I couldn't avoid it. Looking back now, I could have avoided most of those. It's like I absolutely could have done, because as soon as you get into one fight, they have friends. And now
Snowballs.
yeah, I mean, they choose when of a time of their choosing when to attack you,
Yeah.
never yours. So you're walking home from college or school, you've got a bag on your back, and you're tired. It's been a long day. Teacher yelled at you for whatever reason, and then they jump you. That is the last that your mind is not thinking about, I want to fight right now. Your mind is thinking about, want to go home, want to get something to eat, want to maybe take a nap and watch The Simpsons. It's like so, we have to be in a situation where if we can avoid it, but as soon as something hits the fan, we are prepared for that. Absolutely. So like when you turn on the stove and you touch it, and suddenly your reaction is, oh, it's really hot. My reaction, what I want to instill in students is, if it does hit the fan, they will be able to respond just as quickly and rationally. That's so important. And that way you don't create a permanent set of circumstances when you are temporarily emotionally compromised. We want to keep hold of ourselves all the time.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so commendable as well to say that, you send people elsewhere, because I think today, as you said, Master Wong, it's like it used to be the relationship between the student and the teacher, but now it's more of a business model. Because people having big schools trying to get the 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 student mark, etc. And they try to go into this, I will teach everything kind of mentality. Right, you want to fight competitively MMA? I will show you something. You want to fight bare knuckle boxing? I will show you something. You want to learn self-defense? I will show you something. You want to train with your family and your kids? I will show you something. And they try to do a one-size-fits-all martial arts academy. And sometimes it just doesn't work like that. You need to specialize. If you want to fight competitively, go here. If you want to learn pure self-defense, go here. If you want to learn specifically groundwork, go here. If you want to learn just a nice general family-run community thing, go here. That's it. But I think there's too much of maybe the one size fits all going on at the moment, where it's like, yeah, I'll just take it all because now I've reached a bigger demographic.
I mean, for sure, the business model. I mean, like people who do it full time, you got to eat. It's like, I get that. Of course, it's important, though. I think it's also about not. You don't want to. It's all about integrity as well. Like you said, it's like I've had people who just want to do grappling with me. It's like I teach a lot of elements of grappling. I used to grapple a lot, but this is not the focus of the class. You know what I mean? It's the focus of the class is to get a good understanding of everything, of this, a bit of this. But it's like if you want to specialize, then if that's an area that I'm good at, maybe we'll do that another time. But it's like I don't really want to. It's like I do see people who will capitalize on that. If they have an elementary understanding of a specific topic, like some guys might be very good at pad work, for instance, which I think is fantastic. Okay, but this guy wanted to do grappling. Okay, maybe you can combine those things, but I think it's important to refer to someone who is a specialist in that. So like with my students, I never say, look, this is not. I'm not exclusive. like your training, you'll get pushed by other people. You know what I mean? It's like you train with me, you'll learn some things. You train with someone else, you learn some other things, and you can practice that and see what works for you. Then you come back to it's like, and I think it's in this day and age, because I think back in ancient China, you will have had that exclusivity. You know what I mean? It's things have changed now. Things have changed now, and I would always encourage that that people train with other people as well. And it's like if you're a boxer, hey, train with a kickboxer, train with someone else, just to see, hone your skills that way. Because if you find yourself in a real life situation, chances are, okay, they're not going to stick to the same rules as you. So that's a huge probability that they're not going to do that. So I always think it's good to pressure test as well. And I think in terms of, well, I regard the body to be like a car. The car might be a Lamborghini, but if the driver is, driving under the influence or not all there, doesn't matter how good the car is. That it's completely irrelevant. So you might end up hurting yourself or hurting someone else, which is even worse. So I think that's why collaborating with Master Wong here is something I'm so passionate about, just because a lot of it starts here, and everything else, that'll come.
Yeah, that'll come after. Yeah, for sure. What's some of the future projects that you guys are going to be working on then? You're both busy men, obviously, with the film work, with the teaching, with the martial arts, everything. So what are some future things that you're going to do in the next month, 2 months, however long you want to go for?
Yeah, so me and Dr. John doing the project for like charity, half for charity and stuff like that, for the anti-bullying, could awaken the warrior, the event that changed everything. The idea is that we go through the training with them so they can get the 7-day, go through the 7-day challenge first, so they can get in the understanding the basic principle first. Because a lot of time when it comes to lesson, everyone want to do this, do this, do this. But really, and truthfully, when you get to lesson, a lot of things you want to learn, you can't learn because you're not up to that standard to learn that kind of stuff. Or sometimes when it comes to the lesson, you coming in and we teach you something and say, I don't want to learn this movement because it's like not useful for me. So the way we're gonna structure our project is a little bit unique, a little bit different, because it's just something different that we try to do to make sure that we don't do the called a seagull seminar. Seagull seminars like what everybody do, coming in and make loads of shit, noise and shit everywhere, and then fly off again. And students come home and say, what the hell did I learn? I don't learn anything. I got 1,000 different technique and I don't know what to do. So what we do, they go through the 7 day. In the 7 days, they go through the certain thing in there and they tick off all different box. And then they also have like the rating. So what they're good at, what they're not. And then we ask them a certain thing they want to learn, what sort of thing they want to learn and what they're good at, hand, feet, what they're good at, what they got already. So when we have this information, when they finish, then become easier for us to sum up the basic training, catering around that area. So when you get there, they know exactly what you need to do. So we don't need to explain to them about this and that, about our mindset anymore, because they've been reading 2 books that we put into one. So I written the book, Dr. John written the book, they're all combined into one book. They can start to study and read about that. So they understand about it already. When it comes to lesson, we get on with the business, teaching you the things that you need to learn. So not going to be like, going to teach you 1,000 technique. The thing we teach is have to call the stacking. Okay, it's a have to stack up, and when you finish, you should be able to using the basic stuff to dealing with almost any situation you come across with day-to-day stuff. So now become transferable. You understand? Whatever you're learning is transferable, so you're not forget. And if you do finish the seminar, then we have the lesson online for you to refer back to and reading. So that's the project we do at the moment called the event change everything, waking the warrior. So Dr. John can add some bit in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 7-day challenge is, I will say, I won't give away too much, but it is quite challenging. And not just physically as well, I might add. So 7 days, and then you score yourself. And it is out of, I think the 7-day total is out of 360, which is great. Okay, it's 360 awareness. Now, I think with that, once you score yourself, okay, having a high score is fantastic, but martial arts is a way of life. It's like, are you able to do this challenge automatically? Can you live day in and day out whilst doing all those things with your challenge? And one of the things I do, for instance, is my own personal philosophy is to train when I don't want to so I can fight when I have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll set my alarm at 3 in the morning. And who wants to do that? Okay, but I don't want to do it. So, but hey, it's got to be done, you know. So it's like, so it will push you to do stuff like that. So once you give yourself a rating and everything, and you can always, you know, extend it, okay, and see how well you do the following week or whatever, and then see if there are any improvements. And I think once you've got that, once you've got a decent score of where you are, you can then get in touch with us and book in some Zoom calls. And what that will do, it allows us to, one, see your score, two, see where you are with your training, with your progress and your development, get to know you better, you know. And that's what I was saying earlier, getting to know people first, you know. And then after that, so you've got the challenge and the Zoom calls. Those are the prerequisites for the actual physical seminar that Master Wong and I will be leading on. And it's like, you know, two minds are better than one. I think between Master Wong and I, our experience will cover a lot of different scenarios for sure. So we will always invite the students with their challenge to say, hey, look, what is it you want to do? Are there any experiences or situations that you've come across that you want to tackle that you wish you could have handled it better?
Yeah.
Or are there ones that you've heard that your friends went through, your family members went through that you wish you want them to be able to help themselves as well? So, and the good thing is, at the end of the 7-day challenge, any situation that you start to think about, you will start to think about how to resolve it from the 7-day challenge that you've already done. So you'll use those skills and those attributes that you would have picked up from those 7 days to start answering your own questions. And what we do is we'll give you the benefit of our experience to add on to that. These are the alternatives of what you can do. This is what else, you know, this is how you can avoid it completely. This is, you know, so it's going to be very much tailored to that specific person, you know. And the thing is, we're aware that most students, a lot of students will probably ask very similar questions, you know. So we can always adapt it, and that's the beauty of this. Two minds are better than one. We have, I don't know how many years of experience we have between us, but I'm sure it's a fair bit. But the most important thing here is that we're using our skills, our experience to help people, you know. And I always think, you know, I'd rather help someone than hurt them. So you want to be a better teacher than a better fighter. But we're using that experience from a fighting background to be able to help people. So that's why this seminar will be different, just because you have those two prerequisites of the 7-day challenge, the Zoom calls where we get to know you better, how we can advise you a bit more, and then book in the seminars, and then we get to work with you physically. And that's going to be awesome.
How many seminars are you planning? Is it going to be one seminar? Is it going to be a series of them? Where are they going to be kind of based?
I think it's a series of them. At the moment, we start with one first. And it's the good thing about it is when we do them, they can train it at home. So when we do the seminar, they can do, if a different country, doesn't matter, they can practice some of that stuff at home as well, because they will go up a lesson, go along with it of that. So that's good. If people turn up, that can do in there. So that it's good. So we start with one first. I think when is it supposed to be? When is it?
I think the first one was it October that we were planning?
Sometime in that time, but we will update them more information when it comes to our site and stuff like that, and all social media anyway. And then from there, after next year, after next year, we got more throughout the year plan out, because everything teaching they have to have like organized. So they go home with the things they need, you know. So they've got all the things they need, so they always can come back to us when they need it. So become a lot more easier when they finished it, and then it's easier for them to come online, and then they can see what we're doing, and if you've got questions, we can answer them, that kind of thing. So we do a lot of face-to-face, and then they get into it, and then in the back end, we help them behind the scene as well when they got problem. Oh, I'm not very fit, or I got a little bit of problem here, or you know, that cannot be fit in the classroom. Into the face-to-face. So I'm going to say, okay, if you got this, you need to do this, for instance, you know. So we do a lot of stuff behind the scene for them as well.
Absolutely. And it's not, and it wouldn't just be physical either. It's, you know, a lot of it is about mental and your mindset, and how we can adjust certain things within your mindset. It may even be adjusting your small habits that can change everything. And it's like, for instance, one thing I advise people is if you drive or you cycle, have those same observations when you're walking. Something like that, as simple as that. You see so much more. So it's something that I'm very excited to be and passionate about coming together with Master Wong to deliver this. So this is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Where can people find more information about it, or kind of book on, or get interested in it, and yeah, find out more?
Yeah, just go to the masterwong.tv website. Then in upper top, up there, you will see Waking the Warrior. Click on that. We got loads of different people. So you got like Dr. John D. We're gonna do the challenge called self-defense. Mainly that's designed for mainly self-defense. Then we got people doing the kickboxing. Then we got people doing the Jeet Kune Do. Then we got people doing the mindset. Each one very different because we're doing stuff like this to raise fund for charity as well. So we do 2-in-1 kind of thing. So it's helping people, but also they're helping us. We're helping people, so that become a lot more easier to work together. And then when we done each of the challenge, me and Dr. John will using certain amount of fund there to go and do the charities that for our choice, so people can see it that we do this to help people. So people can understand that if who want to join us to in the same thing, they can join us and come and deliver this, because I love to have people learn to give. Yeah, learn to able to give, and you feel very different. Like last one, we do one in London with my brother Ish. We raise some fund and we take the kid out to doing climbing, for instance, after the training, for instance, and then take them have something to eat. Next one we're gonna do is because they're very quite poorish kind of family. They don't have much of the job. Not doing this like same with me when I'm young. I came to England. I don't have that kind of thing. So I feel that. Then this time we're gonna take them to play paintball, we just kid like to be kid enjoys that. Then we like to do that, like we do the seminar with the body ish, and then we collect the fund, and then we go out and deliver that ourselves, not give it to people and go and do stupid thing. We go there and deliver ourselves to them. If you got a problem, we fix them, helping them school and problem. So that's what we're trying to do here with my brother here, Dr. John here, doing something a little bit more different, maybe along that kind of stuff, maybe anywhere. It isn't really matter. Then go from there.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. I think I'm so passionate about charitable causes, and it's like, certainly on the YouTube comments or whatever, you'll always get messages saying, "Oh, well, I could take you in a fight." Well, okay, cool. If you have the skills to be able to do that, what are you doing about that? What are you doing? Do your part. Do better. And instead of being destructive, we're actually being constructive and productive. And the end result is we're going to be able to reach more people, help improve the quality of their lives, and they will be able to improve the quality of their characters also. And at the end of the day, that money then it has a charitable cause that it's helping, and I think that is so wonderful. And I'm all for that.
It all sounds amazing. Yeah, so best of luck, guys, and anything I can do to help to support it or anything I will do, and I think it's a great cause. So yeah, anything you need, shout. And yeah, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. We reaching out, and then we got more time to talk about different things, different projects come along, and we try to help each other. What I really like to do is really try to get the martial community work together a bit more and start changing individuals themselves, and then the individuals themselves changing the family of their family to make it better. Then the family started changing the fan of them, and the fan of them started changing people around them, and then the city, and then country. So it slowly built out like a ripple. That's what I like. I like to see that. I don't like to give the men the fish so they can eat for once. I teach them how to fish so they can fish for lifetime. So each one of them, who we help, we embed that mindset and the quality of the character. They can do the same with other person. It become contagious, and that's what we like to do. We want to do that. And it's not just this country. We do planning out all different part of the country as well. So that way we can got a chance to visit the country and also visit the people, also do made a difference as well in different part of the country. So yeah.
Sounds incredible. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. I'm sure we'll catch up again very soon, and you can let us know how it's all going on, and and anything else you need. Okay.
Man, thank you so much.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you, Master Wong, and thank you, Dr. John.
Hey.
Cool.